We have witnessed AI drawing art, making music and writing scientific papers, so it is more than inevitable that we will start witnessing artificial intelligence generated video game reviews. But can an AI truly write video game reviews? Can it express an opinion and articulate a verdict based only on its database? First things first, roll the intro. Yakuza 0 is an absolutely fantastic game that any fan of open world action games should not miss. The story is engaging and well written, with complex and likable characters that you can't help but become invested in. The gameplay is smooth and satisfying, with a wide variety of activities and minigames to keep you entertained. The visuals are also top notch, with detailed and immersive environments that really bring the world of Yakuza to life. As you may have guessed from the topic of the video, the above review was generated entirely from an artificial intelligence named OpenAI, an open source project that recently took off and became well known, perhaps even infamous for how good it can write with so little input. An example I brought may already answer the question in the title of this video. AI can indeed write video game reviews. The text generated, while short, is fairly complete. The AI talked about the story, the gameplay, the graphics and the world design. Not to mention that what I read was only half of the text generated, with the latter part describing the characters, the fighting styles and a small conclusion. But something feels unsettling. Sure, the AI can emulate a written review based on past reviews by quote-unquote reading articles it was fed with, but it didn't actually put any personal input. I could also read many reviews about a game I didn't play, say Halo, and then come up with a short summary of what people think the game excels at and its shortcomings. In today's video, I wish to make a small philosophical talk on what it means to write a review and explain why artificial intelligence, while it's useful as a tool for a writer, cannot actually write a review as we intended. In the first block, I will be discussing how the AI writes reviews and why it does not work, while in the second one I will be discussing generalities in reviews in general and how to avoid them. How does the AI write reviews, or writes in general for that matter? Simple, it has a colossal database with articles, in the case for video games I assume video game reviews from bigger publications, and based on what it reads, it comes up with a paraphrased mesh that describes the game in question. One of the standout features of Mario Kart 8 is its impressive graphics and visual design. The tracks are vibrant and detailed, with a wide range of environments to race through, from tropical beaches to snow-covered mountains. The characters' models are also well designed, with a wide range of outfits and accessories to customize your race. In this example, we can observe the AI describing some of the features it saw most frequently mentioned in reviews it has read, such as the variety of different tracks and the possibility to customize your kart and bike. The AI does not say anything that was not said before, it just combines a lot of ways people have described the features of Mario Kart 8 into a concise paragraph. But as stated in the introduction, nobody's stopping me to read reviews of a game I did not play and write a good sounding opinion piece without even looking at the game in question. The more reviews I read and the more specific examples I can pick up to use in my quote-unquote review. The problem with the AI is that, being fed with many different reviews, it cannot make a clear and cut case for a game's quality or lack thereof. Here's an example to explain this point. Overall, Sonic Forces is a solid entry in the Sonic series and a must-play for fans of the franchise. While it may not be the best Sonic game ever made, it is still a lot of fun to play and is sure to please fans of the series. What I just read is just like pineapple on pizza. Garbage. I think there is no Sonic fan that can claim Sonic Forces to be a good game. Tolerable at best, but certainly not a must-play. It is one of the lowest rated Sonic games both by the critics and the public, and while the game is certainly not a disaster, its mediocrity is disappointing to say the least. As you might have guessed by this third example, the AI does not truly have a metric of Paragon, it just assumes every game to be good by its own merit. It does moderate its tone and does not call every mediocre game a masterpiece, but it truly feels empty to call every game enjoyable. The AI is trained to write reviews based on the content of the game and not opinions around it. Thus, every game can be enjoyable to at least somebody by definition, but what is the point of a review if not to make comparisons and rate games based on its competitors? Why would I buy Sonic Forces rather than Sonic Mania, for instance? Like, sure, if Sonic Forces was the only game in existence of its kind, then everyone's rating of the game would be higher, but since it is worse than other Sonic games and platformers in general, I would say that the game is only worth it by certain conditions, and definitely not at full price. I was able to get an outright negative review only from the very worst games in existence, like Right to Hell Retribution, where the AI wrote that Right to Hell Retribution is a poorly made and poorly received game that is best to be avoided, simply because there are no positive reviews praising the game. Most mediocre games are treated kindly because there is a counterbalance to pump up the game's quality in the review. The point of all this speech is to state that what artificial intelligence does is to paraphrase other people's review, and it has not the capability to come up with a genuine judgment, meaning that all reviews it writes feel more like Wikipedia articles rather than opinion pieces. Someone out there could very well argue that this is not a bug, but a feature. Even the same AI wrote to me once that as an artificial intelligence, I'm not capable of personal opinions or biases. So where's the problem? The problem is that reviews by definition are personal opinions that have biases. If every opinion expressed by every journalist was 110% unbiased, every grade given by a game would be identical. Yet even for the greatest masterpieces, that is not always the case. Thus, I will say that the AI is capable of emulating a review and even to give a fairly accurate look at a game you have not played. However, without context, its words are meaningless and could give you the wrong suggestions. Even though this video is entitled "Can AI write video game reviews?", I did not only want to explain why AIs can write honest opinion pieces, I mean this conclusion was inevitable, but I wanted to also explain how very broad reviews do not actually contribute to one's knowledge regarding a given game. For this discussion, we must open a new block. As I said many countless times, there are many types of reviews, from elaborated hour-long analysis to symbols like a thumbs up or a grade. I would be dishonest, however, to say that all reviews are on the same level. Of course, a thoughtful critical dissection of a game tells you more about a given title than a number. God, if I hate numbers. The problem AI reviews have is that they tend to be quite generic. You could change the title of the game and the review will work just the same. This is not a problem only AI reviews have, but also some written or video reviews have seen. If a review can be applicable to any game of a series, that's not a good review. But writing can be fixed. Broadness is more difficult to correct. So in this blog, I want to address what makes a review broad and how to improve reviews so they sound better and not AI generated. Of course, it would be in bad faith to cite other people's work to use as negative examples, so I will use broad examples and my own past reviews I wrote in early high school to explain what makes a generic review such. In a past written review, I have described Mirror's Edge graphics with the following words. The graphics are good, while what amazes is the setting itself. This line is vague, perhaps not false, but too generic. What makes the graphics only good? Why is the setting amazing? What distinguishes the graphics quality from the setting? Does the level of graphical impressiveness impact the setting? A review has to describe the game in such a way that the reader can understand what makes the game unique from others. While it's correct to say that Mirror's Edge graphics are good, such a statement can be made for any other game. If I describe why the graphics are just good by bringing examples, it would have made the description more complete, and thus less generic. Another example of a generic statement that can be found in video game reviews is, "The game is fun." Again, this might be 100% accurate, yet this is a jolly card that can be played anywhere and starts losing meaning very quickly. Explaining what makes a game fun is challenging. I struggle myself in past text, yet more often than not, describing what you do in the game helps significantly. The game is fun because bosses are challenging and thus give you a sense of reward by defeating them. The game is fun because progression is constant and you do not need to grind to progress. Or the game is fun because its narrative structure is surreal and absurd. Or always the words fun can be better elaborated to suit a game specifically. Of course, it would be pedantic to describe every aspect of a game to its minuscule detail. After all, reviews are yes artistic works, but also tools to be used by readers to have a better understanding of a game they might not possess. A review is not an encyclopedia. Details are important, but need to be relevant to one's experience, and not to be inserted for their own sake. It goes without saying that making a review too big and too detailed might even ruin the surprise of a game, and thus be counterproductive. Making a review too vague, however, is not a solution either, as we already addressed. AI written reviews fails in this regard, since OpenAI just ranks what are the most common elements cited in other people's review and reformulates them. Humans have the ability to express and explain with written words experiences. There's a big difference when describing objectivity and subjectivity, and only humans can combine them both to write a good review. In today's video, I am specifically addressing video game reviews, but it goes without saying that any written work should avoid being vague, otherwise reading it feels like a waste of time, and the AI can probably do a better job. You don't want to be beaten by a machine, do you? Artificial intelligence emulates writing video game reviews, but by definition it cannot stipulate a review as intended by us players. It is fun to play around with OpenAI to observe what it can output given a prompt, and it can definitely help out to write any kind of text. However, I would not rely solely on the machine's lack of bias. AI written reviews are also good examples on how vague reviews do not truly help the user to have a good understanding of a game. If every aspect of a title is just fun, good, and it works, then it could be any game. If you made it this far, I wanted to thank you one too many times for watching today's video. Today's topic was bizarre to say the least. I do wonder if reviewers will start considering tools like OpenAI to write passages for their reviews. I'm certainly not. For now. If you liked today's video, I invite you to leave a like, to share it and subscribe for more. I wish you all a wonderful day, and until next time, arrivederci.